Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Game Master Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I am going to be launching a new series, a playlist on my channel for Adventures Dark and Deep, second edition, or remastered, or whatever you want to call it. Basically, this is the newest printing and iteration of Adventures Dark and Deep. This is without the OGL and a all new packaging of two very, very huge volumes that is going to cover everything that you need in order to play this game system. So without further ado, when I say huge, I want to switch over to the wider screen so that you can actually see these two books in their physical form. So getting ready to switch over, and here we go. So this is the core rulebook. As you can see, this is one heck of a beast here. Now, it's a little bit misleading in that, you might think, oh my gosh, this is, 900 some pages long, and actually it's just under, including the index. The index starts on page 482, so it is a little over 480 pages long. But the thing is that the typeset, it's not exactly large print, but it's not small either. So it is very, very easy to actually flip through and read this here. So I'm really appreciative of that. You can see, all of these details. Now I am going to do a full, a full coverage of this game system. This game system is written by Joseph Block, and it's put out by BRW Games. He produced a lot of really good stuff. I have several of his adventure modules, and now I will be filling out the rest of my Adventures Dark and Deep, second edition, I'll call it, second edition materials. So it is just a monster of a book, and this is just the core rule book. As you can see, pretty substantial. Will look great on the shelf. I like the orange binding, so it'll look great on the shelf, and it will replace the 3-volume set that the first printing actually occupied. So, and then here is the Bestiary. Again, another monster book. So well over, I'm going to say it's probably very, very close to 1,000 pages in total. And let's see, this goes up to 536. At least 536, that's the last section. The actual page count, yeah, it is 536, including the appendix. And here we have, all of your various creatures that you are going to find. Now remember, this is OGLS. In other words, all of the nomenclature that used to exist under the OGL 1.08, I believe, has been changed. So instead of like a rot grub, you'll have an ear seeker, and so on and so forth. There'll be various different names for your classic D&D creatures and such. Other things didn't have to be changed, like Electrum Dragon or Green Dragon or Red Dragon. Those kinds of things still, maintain, but others are, others are here. There is some art into, some full page art distributed within it, and I really do like the art design here. So here is Gratz the Demon Lord, and I certainly like the art here. It's certainly an improvement, I would say, over over some like very cartoony type of art that I've seen elsewhere. And I like the fact that it's still black and white and still carries that kind of weight. There's a caterwaul. So really impressive physical copies. The binding and everything looks like it's very solid. And with such a big book, I just want you to see how it flexes, so you're not going to bust the binding when you're opening up, and you could still read everything very, very clearly here on the pages without having it to have to go absolutely flat. But like I said, that gap in between, you can see, is going to give the book the ability to be opened up all the way without the risk of blowing out its binding. And so that's a really nice, design feature in the binding to help protect the book and let it last a much longer time. So really excited about this. Really excited about this game system. Really excited about having it for use. I will be running Adventures Dark and Deep at some time during my 2025 gaming year, and I'll certainly see. I was looking to run. I also picked up last week or so. Actually, 2 weeks ago at the convention, at page 2, I picked up the Greyhawk supplement for this as well, and so absolutely my next campaign set in the world of Greyhawk is going to be utilizing all of these materials from from Joseph Block, Adventures Dark and Deep, and really looking forward to the series of videos coming up, which you'll see over the next couple of weeks and everything. I will be interspersing it with all of the other video series that I'm currently doing. So I hope you enjoyed this. This is going to be a real short one, right? Because I'm not going, real into anything right now. This is just an introductory, and I'm just going to go over, what is in here. I will show you the quick synopsis of what this is about. All right, so the preface. When I first set out on my project to explore Gary Gygax's intentions for his second edition of the world's most famous role-playing game, I completely underestimated the task before me. Starting with the first edition rules, I began to research into Gary's articles published in the early 1980s, where he discussed where he wanted to take the game. There were to be new character classes, new monsters and spells, and a complete reorganization of the rules to bring them back into 3 books. I began looking into his many, many online discussions where he touched on the subject. There was information across many online forums and literally thousands of pages of posts to sift through. What I thought would be a relatively quick writing project turned into a massive research project. The result was Adventures Dark and Deep, which was my best attempt to write the game that Gary would have written, the game I wanted to play in 1985 but couldn't. Originally, it was going to be a 3-book set, as Gary had intended, a standalone game. In fact, it started as a single-volume expansion book, a curious volume of forgotten lore. But the 3 core volumes soon followed. Both the expansion volume and the 3 main rule books were well received among AD&D fans. It wasn't a runaway hit by any means, possibly because Rules Light was, and to a large extent remains, in vogue, and Adventures Dark and Deep is anything but Rules Light. But it found its audience. But then something happened. The game began to grow beyond the original boundaries of what would Gary have done. More expansion books came, using Adventures Dark and Deep system as a framework upon which to build. Books for new classes and races, Lovecraftian horror, fantasy, China, and more came flowing out. All were usable across a wide spectrum of different OSR games, meaning variously old school, Renaissance, revival, or rules, but all taking the Adventures Dark and Deep game well beyond the boundaries of the original concept. The game has become not only greatly expanded beyond the original concept, but downright experimental in places. Which brings us to the present volume. In the years since the original trilogy of books came out, there have been many expansions and excisions, changes to the rules, or rather things learned over the years of experience that needed to be updated and so forth. New classes were invented that should, by rights, be included in the rulebook, especially in a game as deliberately expansive as Adventures Dark and Deep. So here we are. The original 3 books concept has been trimmed down to 2, the rulebook and the Bestiary, and the content thoroughly refurbished. The heart of the original is still there, but as happens so often in tabletop role-playing games, much has been changed or added. I think it is a much better game than it was, even if it has slipped the leash and taken on a life of its own. Joseph Block, 2024. So, again, it's a... I just switched to the other book by accident. So there you have it. There you have my initial presentation of the physical copies of Adventures Dark and Deep. Like I said, I will be doing a future deeper dive into the rulebook first, and then into the Bestiary. And as always, I thank you for stopping in. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like and subscribe, and to share and to comment for sure in there. If you already have this as well and you're running it, I'd love to hear some of your stories about how you've been using the game system, and and what your current campaign is going like, because I am intending to run this game system within the next couple of months as well. So you all have a great one, and take care.